Welcome to this Tutor to You Introduction to Sociology topic video looking at social class. Sociologists often discuss the differences between social classes in the UK and how this shapes their experiences and life chances. But what is social class? Social class is a form of stratification of society. That is, a way of organising people based upon their social, cultural and economic characteristics to create a hierarchy within society. Traditionally, people were sorted into different social classes based upon their occupations and how skilled their work was perceived to be. But in more recent times, and with changes to the way we work, this is less useful in contemporary society. Many people choose to define their own social class, and therefore class is seen as a subjective measurement of an individual's status in society. People are able to assign themselves to social class groups based upon the characteristics that they identify with the most. However, this also means that people can be categorized by others as belonging to a particular social class, and this can be a source of conflict and tension in society. The structure of the social class hierarchy has become more complex over the years, particularly with increased levels of education, de-skilling of workers, and changes to sectors in which people are employed. On a very basic level, the traditional definitions of social class focus on three distinct groups: the upper class, the middle class, and the working class. The upper class, often referred to as the elite, are those in society with the most power and resources, often inherited from their families. The upper class also includes those who are titled, again often inherited titles such as hereditary peerages, lords, and members of royalty. The middle class is traditionally defined as those in non-manual professions, particularly those in professional employment. Doctors, lawyers, accountants, and even teachers are perceived to be from the middle classes. But as employment has changed and the UK economy has moved from being based on heavy industry to the service sector, this creates problems for our definition of middle class as non-manual labour. The working class are associated with manual occupations: construction, labouring and manufacturing. This definition is simplistic, however, as many in skilled trades such as plumbing, electricians and construction will earn more than those in lower administrative positions such as clerical work and retail management, yet will be perceived to be of a lower class. This demonstrates why occupation and income are insufficient to measure an individual's social class in the 21st century. More recent measures of social class have attempted to examine the different tastes, attributes, and likes of those in different social classes. French sociologist Pierre Bourdieu found that individuals of similar status tend to have similar tastes and attributes, what he called their habitus. This included both their occupation and their income, but also their levels of education and their social connections. And this interpretation is often used in more contemporary measures of social class, such as the Great British Class Survey in the early 21st century. More contemporary measures of class suggest there are up to 7 distinct social groups based upon combinations of occupation, education, and social connections. Despite this, greater prominence is given in society to individuals whose occupation is seen to be more valuable to society. Politicians, business leaders, doctors, and lawyers are given higher status in society than nurses, teachers, factory workers, and those working in public transport, despite the importance of the latter roles to the functioning of the economy and the well-being of the nation, as evidenced by the COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns. Sociologists that examine the relevance of social class suggest that individual social class influences their life chances, and this is explored throughout most sociology courses. Generally speaking, the lower an individual's social class, the more likely they are to suffer from a disadvantaged position. Those in working class areas will have a lower life expectancy than those in more affluent areas, and also spend more of their life in poor health. For pupils from economically disadvantaged backgrounds, they are less likely to achieve good educational outcomes than their peers, whilst those in the lower social classes are often underrepresented in positions of power, the media, and in higher education, particularly those universities with elite status. On an individual level, lower social classes are more likely to be disadvantaged in having access to adequate housing, have diets that are imbalanced, have limited access to a full range of healthcare provision, such as mental health services and preventative screening measures, attend schools with lower levels of achievement and funding, and face social exclusion in society. While some sociologists argue that class is no longer relevant, the scale of disadvantage for those in the lower social classes from birth to old age would suggest otherwise. Different sociological perspectives will take differing views of both the experiences of different social classes and the structure of the class system. Functionalists argue that social class differences are inevitable in society, as society is meritocratic. People are rewarded based upon their abilities, and this means that people who work hard and have the right attributes will be able to gain status and become socially mobile. They suggest that there is equality of opportunity in society, and that everybody has the chance to succeed, and those that do are rewarded with higher status positions, what they call achieved status. Marxism, with its focus on class conflict, perhaps unsurprisingly would disagree. Traditional Marxists suggest that individuals are allocated to one of two social classes, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, based upon their relationship to the means of production. If an individual owns capital, factories and resources, they are the bourgeoisie. If not, they are workers, or the proletariat. This is quite a broad interpretation that concentrates most of society's power into the hands of very few individuals, something other sociologists have rejected. The New Right, like functionalists, see society as meritocratic, but they also argue that there exists a further social class beneath the traditional working class, what they call the underclass, those unable or unwilling to work and are dependent upon state benefits. The New Right argue that the underclass are inadequately socialised and the cause of many social problems in society, something other sociological approaches criticise the New Right for as being victim-blaming and scapegoating. Other approaches, such as postmodernists, reject the influence of individual social class, suggesting that society is too fragmented for individuals to conform to the norms and values of different social classes, stating that the greater individualism in society means that these collective norms and values no longer apply. Finally, social action theorists, such as Weber, have rejected Marx's idea of a simplified two-class system, instead suggesting that social class is multifaceted and diverse, taking into account an individual's economic situation, their status in society, and the power they have in their relationships with others, arguing that social class is a subjective interpretation and as a result needs to be examined on an individual basis rather than attempting to categorise individuals into specific social classes. That concludes this Tutor to You Introduction to Sociology topic video on social class. Thanks for watching.